I was writing code with ChatGPT. We were building stuff together. So can ChatGPT help QA my code and check my code for issues? More than that, not only can ChatGPT check my code and QA it with me, but if I ask it specifically to find exploits in code, guess what it does? It does just that. What's up, Crypto Nation and all you amazing Stoss Fund investors? Let's talk about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is something that I've spent over about 6 hours now. About 6 hours talking with this machine, this generative AI of sorts. And frankly, well, look at all my notes. 6 hours, 10 things that I have discovered that I would love to decompose with you guys and extract some powerful ideas around. Because ChatGPT, frankly, my friends, is going to change the world. So what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is a large language model developed by OpenAI. It uses deep learning techniques to generate human-like text and has been trained on a diverse range of internet text, allowing it to understand and respond to a wide range of topics. ChatGPT has the potential to revolutionize a number of industries by automating tasks that currently require human input, such as customer service and data entry. Additionally, it may be used to generate creative content, such as writing, and to improve natural language processing in a variety of applications, such as virtual assistants and language translation. Overall, the ability to understand and respond to human language with a high degree of accuracy can make it a powerful tool for automating many tasks and make them more efficient. Now, what I just read out to you guys was ChatGPT's answer to my question, give me an introduction to ChatGPT and how it'll change the world. Let's get into number one. The number one thing out of all these 10 that I've written down that, well, let's just talk about them. Number one, the first idea that I came up with, and this is, frankly, I'm stupefied, I'm excited. There's a little bit of anxiety in there because what I've uncovered over these 6 hours, guys, is just, it's mind-blowing. Number one, will ChatGPT replace competence? Will it replace competence? And the first test that I ran on this was an essay. I asked ChatGPT to write me an essay on the French Revolution, limited to 2,303 words specifically, with at least 12 citations and a bias towards the English interpretation of the resolution. And it wrote the whole thing, exactly 2,303 words with citations and bias. Guys, this is the issue. ChatGPT is now replacing competence. If, for example, if you ask someone to create something for you, like an essay, or if you ask someone to build something for you, like a report, you don't know if the individual on the other end of that is actually competent. Can they do this work? The reality is we now, in 2023, no longer can validate competence. Why should my daughter, why should my son ever write an essay for school ever again? Why would they? If the teacher asked them, hey, write us a paper on this major event in 1890. Well, my daughter and son can just go to ChatGPT and create a lot of parameters, maybe even constraints and specificity, and ChatGPT will write the whole bloody essay for them. Competence now is in question. Let's go to number two. Memorization versus critical thinking. Memorization versus critical thinking. One of the tests that I wrote was a question that said, create for me a test that can help me understand whether an interview candidate is good at JavaScript. And ChatGPT wrote out all of the questions that I need to ask this candidate around whether they know JavaScript well or not. And so now begs this question, number 2, which is memorization or critical thinking. Clearly, critical thinking is going to be valued so much more now that we have machine learning and light AI like ChatGPT. It is like you shouldn't be memorizing anything anymore. Frankly, this is, and I've discussed this on other podcasts before, but one of the biggest failings of our educational system is they think that memorization equals intelligence, or memorization and memorizing answers to tests means that you're competent, or means that you're intelligent, or means that you're capable. None of that actually is anything. I'm great at memorizing things. That's just the way that my brain works. I collect data. For some reason, it just sits back there. So for me, I had an outsized advantage in school, middle school, high school, university, and post-college, graduate school, because I was great at memorization. But critical thinking is how problems get solved. Critical thinking and solutioning is how problems get solved. And so now, when it comes to memorization versus critical thinking, memorization is completely worthless. We now have systems that can help us critically think about solutions to problems. Let's go on to number 3. Real creation. Real solutioning. Now I can create stuff with the help of ChatGPT. An example that I wrote, I said, give me a code in JavaScript for the simplest submission contact form. Now look what ChatGPT wrote for me. It's amazing, right? They wrote it all out. They even gave me context in terms of you should replace the submitform.php with the actual URL from your server-side script that will handle the form submission. So I was like, okay, well, include the client-side form validation code, please. And ChatGPT creates it for me. I spent at least 45, maybe even close to an hour just testing this system. Write code in Ruby, write code in Perl, write code in ActionScript, write code in HTML. Build for me this form. Build for me X, Y, and Z. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was, frankly, far superior to what I could create if I were just to open up a text document or a code system. I mean, it calculated it amazing. It created it with me. Now, what's amazing about this is it led me to my 4th point, number 4 here, which is now ChatGPT can calculate things for me. It can problem solve with me. The first question that rose up in my gut, I was moving to this idea, was I wrote into ChatGPT, calculate for me the ideal location for Bitcoin mining machines. What are the most important factors that I need to consider? It's amazing. It told me everything that I already knew because I've been in this game of Bitcoin mining for over a decade, but it created its original content. It created it, wrote it out here, and I wanted to know more. So I asked, where geographically is the best country for Bitcoin mining now? And I had an entire conversation about optimizing Bitcoin mining, geolocations for it, considerations to think about, constraints, legislation, right, laws, legal. I mean, it basically helped me create a better informed decision around, if I want to do X, talk to me. And this is so powerful. This problem-solving idea is that I could, as let's say a young blood or a young student, or it doesn't matter, anyone searching for knowledge, you can go to Reddit, or you can just go to this AI and say, hey, I want to solve this problem. Let's talk about it together. Pair programming, guys, paired programming now has moved to its highest potential. I no longer need to hire someone to pair program with me and have the same motivation, have the same context, have the same worldview, these types of things. All those variables are out the window now. I just need to talk to ChatGPT and say, hey, let's code this, let's problem solve this together. What can we create? And this began an idea in me that, frankly, now, number 5, I can learn anything. Now, I've already known that, based on my human experience, that I can learn anything and I can do anything, and so can you. You already know this. There is potential for you to be able to do anything. But now, with technology like this, frankly, technology like this can help get you the right start. It can help organize your beginnings. For example, I just wrote this in. What is the best way to become a professional race car driver? And it responded to me all the things that I already know about becoming a professional race car driver. And what's powerful about this, again, is you can now learn anything. Or as I wrote in my 5th point here, you can now how to anything. How do I learn X? How do I learn Y? Tell me about Z, right? And this system will be your partner in that craft, in that hobby, in that new project of yours. Why do you need anyone else? So this, because how my mind works, number 6, this is moving into maybe some scarier territory here. But number 6 was exploits. I was writing code with ChatGPT. We were building stuff together. So can ChatGPT help QA my code and check my code for issues? More than that, not only can ChatGPT check my code and QA it with me, but if I ask it specifically to find exploits in code, guess what it does? It does just that. So what I did in this example, I said, find exploits in this particular code. So I went to a random GitHub, an open exchange system, and I typed in, and I tested whether they could pull the link and start extracting the code and see if there's an exploit. They said, nope, they need the actual text. So what I did was I imported the actual code that I wanted to see if there's an exploit for. And guys, lo and behold, it gave me some ideas to think about in terms of how to exploit this code, right? And some of maybe the issues with the way that the author or the code writer wrote this code, that could be a risk exposure. It could be a problem in the future. I mean, think about this, guys. When it comes to, especially in the world that I'm in, digital currency, where 99% of all DAOs that you see are just copy and pasted code, 99% of all tokens that you find in Telegram groups are just copy and pasted code. If you're sophisticated and you want to be part of these crappy pump and dumps or whatever, frankly, a sophisticated thing for you to do would be to go to the code, copy all the code into ChatGPT and say, is this an exploit? Has this been copied from other tokens? Is this just a copy pasta job, or is this something that actually has value, right? And you can ask it questions about text that you put in there. Tell me about this white paper. Is it a good white paper? Does it have all the required considerations for me to make an informed decision as an investor, right? You can throw all of this stuff in here and it will tell you the exploits, the hack opportunities in smart contracts. It can tell you, I mean, exploits, guys, exploits. Another example I did was create an introduction quiz for beginners about Bitcoin. So it gave me 5 questions about Bitcoin. Number 7, let's go to number 7. Loss of jobs. Now this is an interesting consideration. Will ChatGPT create a loss in jobs? I'm going to give you my terse answer. Yes, absolutely. The employment landscape is going to be changed. It's changing now. And I wrote about this in my 3rd book. Some of you guys have already grabbed that, called Gravity, in that we are moving to a mobile video and remote work world. And I wrote this in 2019. So I already knew this. But now, after spending 6 hours with this system, like, it creates stuff for me. It builds code for me. It can build, and other chat systems and other AI systems that I found can build designs for me. It can build actual pictures and actual unique content and unique images and videos. I mean, everything that I need. Now, it's rudimentary, it's basic, it's not perfect yet, but we have to consider where this is going to be going. Is this going to affect the job market? 100%. Frankly, I would think that the next employee market is one where the employees are all leveraging AI and machine learning to help improve their productivity. I would even go farther. If you're not using AI, machine learning in your job, you're not going to be as effective. And so this goes back to number 1 and 2, replace competence, and 2, which is critical thinking. In a very rudimentary, basic way of looking at this, the employees of the future should have the ability to ask sophisticated questions and have sophisticated conversations with AI so that they can extract the most out of AI. And so the employees of the future are ones that are integrated with these types of systems, technological solutions, so that they can become more effective. I remember, guys, years ago, I would talk about how middle management, for example, middle management is not going to survive the evolution of technology. And the reason is because if you're a middle manager and you know zero about technology, guess what? You're useless. You are useless to an organization because organizations are run by technology more so now than ever before. And not only technology, but code. And so I used to preach this, and I still preach this today, that if you're middle management and you don't know code, you don't know technology, you don't know how to leverage the latest technologies that can help advance your position, advance your company, advance your purpose, advance your product, advance your services. Like if you're in middle management and you're not learning any of this, you are useless. You are outdated. And you will be replaced by sophisticated engineers, developers, sophisticated workers and employees that can engage with AI and machine learning and systems to help produce value in expedited timelines. I mean, like, loss of jobs, guys, it's time to change. So make sure, if you haven't read my third book, Gravity, check the link below. Make sure that you guys get that, because that really is my treatise on where we are headed, from my perspective back in 2019, 2020, before the lockdowns and everything. We must change as a market, and we must leverage these new technologies even better. Number 8, this is a interesting idea that popped into my mind as I was spending time with ChatGPT. Is, you guys know that I'm in digital currency, and we're constantly talking about the values of layer 1 versus layer 2 on blockchains, and how layer 1 is the core. For all intents and purposes, for everyone out there, the layer 1 is essentially the architecture, the platforming. And layer 2 are the applications on top of this. Well, when it comes to ChatGPT, there has to be likewise a bifurcation between layer 1 and layer 2. Whereas layer 1 is ridiculously overhead intensive. Lots of compute required. Lots of money needs to be put behind this, servers, systems. And frankly, only the biggest conglomerates in the world like Google and Microsoft can actually be layer 1, because they have to have all this conglomerated and amalgamated information so that when someone asks, they can search the deep well of humanity and pull it up. The problem is a scale issue. No early stage startup can compete with the layer 1s that are being established right now by Microsoft and Google and huge systems like this, like what we're interacting with. And so because there is such a high wall and barrier to entry to become a layer 1 base layer in AI, layer 2 is going to be the praxis, the applications of this AI. And so that's the way that I'm thinking about it, is that you're going to have these major conglomerates like Google and Microsoft that are going to own the foundational base layer, layer 1 of AI systems. And on top of this is going to be a layer 2, which is application specific. Say, like, how can we use AI for legal considerations? How can we use AI for economics? How can we use AI for business decisions? How can we use AI for just marketing? How can we use AI just for video or content? How can we use AI for human resources? How can we use AI for hiring, right? And so what we're going to find is this bifurcation again. We're going to have a base layer 1 that's going to be owned, and in many cases centralized, by a large entity because of the cost, the economics of scale and the unit economics. It's just not possible for someone to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to become a competitor to ChatGPT. It's not going to happen. And so what we're going to find is we're going to find companies that are going to be building on the layer 2, which is specific applications of AI. Now, is there a problem with this? Not necessarily. However, we do live in a Web3 world, which was started by Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. And a Web3 world is a world where you have sovereignty over your own data. Abstractions of this would be your own value, right? Your own email client, your own data server, your own Dropbox, right? Your own everything. Because in a Web 3.0 world, we want sovereignty over our own data. But ChatGPT is part of the Web 3 world, but it's highly centralized. And so there's going to have to be a balance between layer 1 and layer 2. And I would say that some of the most, I would say for the investors out there, for you LPs, investors, guys that are working with us at Stoss Fund, I mean, we're going to be heavily getting into AI for 100%. Absolutely. It's so part and parcel of the Web3 world for sure. But where the money is going to be made is not on layer 1. Where the money is going to be made is on layer 2. And those that can partition out particular use cases for leveraging layer 1 and creating a very robust layer 2 application leveraging AI, those are going to be the money makers, in my opinion. You let me know in the comments if you disagree. Let's go into my number 9th point. So, man, guys, it's just amazing, this stuff. Number 9, we were in the information age, right? We grew up in it. I grew up through the information age, the rise of the internet, right? Tim Berners-Lee in 1993 creates the internet. I was there. I saw AOL grow. I saw Netscape Navigator grow. I saw Ask Jeeves and Lycos and GeoCities and Zynga and Friendster and MySpace and then Facebook. I saw Twitter. I saw all YouTube. I saw all of this stuff grow. We grew together, many of us, in this information age where now we have access on this mobile device to every piece of information that we could possibly want. And in many cases, this thing right here pretty much created obsolescence in a lot of the educational systems of today. My idea is that we have now transcended the information age and we are now in the knowledge age. Now, why do I say this? Because knowledge is information applied, right? That's my definition, right? You can have information, but if you don't do anything with any information, it's useless. Knowledge is when you've applied the information that you have or the data and you've learned something by executing against it. And so we are now moving, in my opinion, away from the information age and more into the knowledge age, where now with systems like ChatGPT and AI, I can now apply the knowledge that I think I thought I had, validate it against a machine, execute it together, especially if it's software, right? We've discussed this, and be able to apply that information in real world ways so that I can actually learn and that knowledge becomes wisdom. I think the transition from the information age to the knowledge age is going to take longer than we expect. However, I believe that we're going to see pockets of young individuals and subculture groups, maybe fringe, that are going to figure out that they no longer need to worry about all the information. It's all there. How can we quickly apply the information in execution and garner knowledge through that so that we can iterate, inspect, and adapt and improve our systems, our software, our products, services even faster? What does that mean? Is that in the knowledge age, we should be able to build software, products, and services exceptionally faster than we've ever been able to do before. Because now we have systems that can help us build these things, to validate our assertions, validate our assumptions, and apply and execute against the information that's out there. We are now in the knowledge age. Number 10, my last idea around ChatGPT. I'll tell you, out of all these things, I'll go through it, right? I wrote so many different queries, and I've shown you some of them here, but a lot of the queries were stuff like, write for me within constraints. Tell me tone, feelings as you write it out. Explain for me in a particular style. Give me the voice. Tell me about it. I did essays. I did tests. I created pages. I created code. I figured out how to do many different things. I learned that this ChatGPT system can help me exploit code, right? So number 10 is, where we go from here. Here's what I want you to think about. I spent 6 hours of the last couple days interacting with this system. Multiple systems, by the way. Imagine where we're going to be in 2 years. Imagine where we're going to be in 3 years, 5 years. To invest in these types of systems today, I think are going to have not only exceptional returns in the future, but frankly, I think in so many ways, my paradigms and mental models around how I build companies and how I invest in companies is going to be fundamentally changed by this. I was sitting upstairs on my laptop, and I was showing my wife some of the stuff. I had 3 windows open, 3 different AI systems open. And I was telling her, I was like, anytime I want to solve a problem, my new behavior pattern is to talk to AI. And I have multiple permutations of AI on different tabs. So this new behavior pattern, I don't know how it's going to affect and change my life. I don't know how it's going to affect and change my overall meta behavior patterns. I don't know how it's going to affect my models, my modeling, my worldviews. But I'll tell you this, I am beginning today to have one of my first go-to places when I have issues, when I'm writing all my notes down and I'm trying to figure out problems and I'm doing all this stuff, right? Like, I'm in my mind here, but now I have a chingu. Now I have a friend. Now I have a system that I can buck up against, a system that I can validate against, a system where I can get feedback, free, available at any moment. I don't have to wait for someone to answer my question. I don't have to go to Reddit and go through the shit posts. This is only the beginning. And it really, 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 really is hard to imagine where this will go in the future. I know that this particular video wasn't exceptionally cut and edited in the best formats, but I'm telling you, these are 10 things that have fundamentally changed the way that I see the world. And I'll tell you guys, Stas Fund, myself, we're going to profit off this. There's opportunity here. We'll see you guys on the flip side.